So when we're irrigating our crops, we want to be considering what source of water we're going to utilize. And some of the common ones are rainwater, pond water, city or tap water, and well water. I'm going to cover each of these sources briefly, just to give you some background on them. So first off, rainwater. It can be easily collected by simply having a rain barrel or collecting it off a roof. But sadly, this can be an unreliable source. And most of the time, when it rains a lot, especially for outdoor operations, you don't need to irrigate a lot. And then when it doesn't rain, you don't have a lot of water reserves, and your plants need irrigation. So sometimes you can kind of be working against yourself there. Also, it's not necessarily just as easy as setting up a rain barrel. There's actually 12 states that regulate the collection of rainwater that I've listed here. So I've chosen to highlight Colorado here because it is unique. I put the source right down here at the bottom. In 2009, Colorado legislation session passed a bill that allows limited rainwater collection for properties supplied by a well. Even then, residents must apply for a permit to do so. This is why I just let you know that it's not necessarily illegal to collect rainwater, but sometimes in certain states there are certain processes to follow, and not just simply hooking up some pipes to a rooftop gutter system here and collecting it. Let's go on to pond water. So pond water can be variable. We're looking at kind of more of a natural surroundings to this pond, and here a little bit more of an urban setup. Caution should be used when using this type of water because especially in the urban type setup, you're looking at could contain pesticides from weed management in the local area. Also, sometimes pesticides or herbicides can be added to the water itself to help reduce some unwanted plant growth. It should be filtered regardless of what type for physical and microbial contaminants. There should be a mechanical filter that removes particulate, and that's just could be sand, could be mud, could be just floating debris. And also it's recommended a UV light pond filter is used because this can sterilize the water. But this can have some restriction on the flow rates. So while this wouldn't be a very efficient method shown here, this gives you an idea of water is basically passed by a UV light, and that can help sterilize it and limit the chance of contaminating your plants in your soil or your container growing media with naturally occurring microbes that might be present in pond water. Tap or city water, actual contaminants depend on the physical location, even town to town. This can relate to what they're adding to that to help reduce and potentially eliminate, hopefully, the microbes that would be growing in the water. So this could be chlorine, chloridamide. There's a whole bunch of different types of basically sterilants that are used. That's why it can vary from town to town. Likely contains some form of chlorine in salts. Get your water tested or call your water department for a current report. They're very good about reporting and providing you with that information. It's advised to check the tap water during the year to see if changes occur. And this could be areas if there's a lot of tourists that come in, higher demands on water, summertime versus winter. It's good to just get an idea to see if there are changes that do occur over the year. Well water, well, the same idea should be applied to tap water. There's a likelihood of greater changes is possible with well water, kind of classified as hard water, meaning it contains a lot of minerals. Temperature is another factor, as it can be a cold shock to plants and may need to be heated before it's applied. This is of particular importance for very deep wells. Also, with all wells, you should watch the flow rate and the well replenish rate. How quick will that well replenish the water that's in it? And when I say well, typically they're not open wells like this, so you have kind of the bucket on the rope. They're typically drilled, and this is one that was recently drilled in the area here. You can see the sand around it, but they're drilled down, and just be mindful to not run your well dry. Be mindful of the flow rate that it can support, and also the rate it can replenish itself, so that you're able to keep that well in as a reliable water source.